as we now go to the 5 red lights for the Qatar Grand Prix. And the lights are off and his foot to the floor, and looks like Avi the Cobra did get a pretty good getaway, and so does Ben Agnew. However, Ben Agnew seems to just slot it behind Avi in the slipstream into turn 1, and I think everyone gets through pretty clean. I think there's going to be 3 abreast there with 2 Mercedes and a AlphaTauri in the middle. They just get through very cleanly. There is a Mercedes, though, still battling around the outside of the AlphaTauri. However, the Aston Martin of Benjo manages to just sweep up the inside and decides to try to go down the inside of the AlphaTauri as well. However, just managing to stay behind, and there's a spin in the back there for One Eye, and I believe he was probably tapped, and he has lost his front wing, and we are lucky not to see a virtual safety car. There's a few more moves being made up further. I believe Dylan has been able to get past the Mercedes of MCL as well, and I believe Firewise has been able to make up a few positions as well. Matt Gear as well, just making a move there as well on Neek. Neek, though, has been able to go up to P14. However, there is a Mercedes there who goes down the inside of Neek, and Goat Alonso gets a penalty for that. There is another battle at the back here, with 3 drivers going 3 abreast with the Mercedes of CGM, Benjo and Jace, but they just go single file through turn 1. They don't want to be fighting in these early stages, otherwise yeah, there may be something that like a spin or something that they don't want. However, Ben Agnew has taken the lead of the race. I don't know when that was. I am very sorry that I didn't capture that. But Ben Agnew must have done some sort of audacious overtake to make that move. However, look at Millard. Millard is going to go down the inside of the Ferrari. Look at that. However, Millard just leaving Avi at just enough racing room. And Avi keeps in P2. Millard has to stay in P3 for now. However, it looks like Millard is going to be having slipstream from the Ferrari and he's going to pull to the outside. Is Miller going to be able to get the overtake on Avi? They're going to go side by side into turn 1. Who's going to be the latest on the brakes? And it looks like they are both pretty equal. Millard has the better line through the outside as it becomes the inside for turn 2. However, Millard doesn't even need the inside line and gets past Avi the Cobra into turn 2. And at the back there, it looks like Pink and CGM class of the Mercedes were getting very, very close as well. But no positions change between P4 and 5. But we do now have a virtual safety car, as I believe Pink has spun it there at the back. Pink running very nicely in P4, I believe it was, and then has spun and has broken a front wing. And he's going to go into the pits for that. A few drivers retiring from the session. I believe we might have had a red flag, maybe. Let me just check my my Discord. There has been no official warning to say that there is a red flag, so we're going to continue racing. It looks like Ben Agnew is DNF for some reason. Is the Mercedes going to be able to make a move? We're going to ride on board with the Mercedes. Goat Alonso now has picked up a penalty for multiple warnings as well. Which way is MCL going to go? He is going to go to the outside. However, we see Benjo in the Aston Martin getting past Millard in the McLaren. But here we go now. Millard is going to be making a move on the Aston Martin, I do believe. He goes pretty wide, though, out of the final corner. So I don't know if he probably got a bit of dirty air from the Aston Martin. But there he goes, just sauntering past, if that's even a word, the Aston Martin, and he has retaken the lead of the race. Isaac in P12, and is there a spin there? Goat Alonso is spun round in the Red Bull. I don't know if he lost it on his own or if he was tapped behind, but Goat Alonso now back down in P12. Matt has got past Five Wise down the main straight. However, look at Five Wise. He's going to try the switchback, but there isn't enough room on the outside of turn 2. However, he switches again to the inside, and that becomes the outside for turn 3. Who's going to be the latest on the brakes going into turn 4? It is the McLaren v AlphaTauri, and I believe the McLaren just got the later brakes. However, the AlphaTauri does have the better line, but the McLaren of Five Wise just stays in front. We're going to ride on board with the McLaren. DRS is open. He's going to pick up the slipstream. Which way does he go? He's going to elect to go down the inside, as the Mercedes doesn't really fight that, and pretty much lets the McLaren go of Millard. And Millard is back up into P2. Now he sets up his eyes and charges for the Aston Martin, as Millard is very, very pacey. Looks like Firewise has gone straight on at turn 1 or something, or span, and he has lost a few positions there. He was running P7, now down in P11. Cobra has got a penalty for multiple warnings. And I know what happened last time when I was commentating him at Qatar. I'm not going to say it again. I mean, if he wants me to say it again, then I will. But there we go. CGM goes through on the inside of the McLaren. Miller slowly closing in now on Benjo. However, this Mercedes is very close. On this occasion, he dives one down the inside of the McLaren into turn 1. And I believe it's going to be side by side still into turn 2. However, Miller just keeps that P2 spot as Miller actually goes wide there and gets a penalty because of it. Maybe there was a spin, I'm not too sure, but he is certainly one driver that has not benefited from that VSC. Well, actually, the whole track was yellow, in fact. However, look at that. Millard has somehow just gotten past Benjo. I don't know how that even happened, but Benjo has now come into the pits. Maybe his tyres have gone off. But Millard making a move out of nowhere. I think it was like through turn 15. Well, we are going to be going into turn 15. The Mercedes stays behind. He wants the DRS. However, look at that. And Neek going behind the Mercedes as Neek tried to play DRS chicken with the Mercedes. As Matt Gia has retired from the session, and I think they actually did it in the pits. However, Neek picks up a penalty. She does get the DRS on the Mercedes, but she isn't close enough to make a move. However, the Mercedes has decided to pull the undercut on the McLaren, so we'll see how that plays out in a lap or two. Where is he going to be in relative to the Mercedes of MCL? And look at that, MCL is actually already down the main straight. Look at that. MCL with that undercut. That was a beautiful undercut. I've just seen that. He goes down the inside of Five Wise as well for good measure. Five Wise tries to fight it back, but MCL pulling a lot of time on Millard. That was a great undercut there from MCL. A very good strategy call. Turbo and Five Wise very close to each other as they're going to go side by side into turn 12. That was very close. Five Wise just managing to stay in front for the time being. Millard is going to go and will have DRS. He's going to open it, and I assume maybe burning a bit of ERS as well. He is seeing that Ferrari flashing. He knows that he's going to be on some pretty worn ERS. The Ferrari makes a pretty late move. I don't know if Millard is going to be very happy with that, as he has a little bit of a jerk there and goes off track. So this is probably going to be a battle that we are going to spectate for a few laps. However, look at that. Dylan goes down the inside. He gets a penalty because of it, but he's still going to go down the inside, and it's going to be side by side into turn 12. Who's going to be the better out of this one? They do get through turn 12 pretty cleanly. Dylan makes the overtake into P2, Jace in P3, and MCL in P4. MCL might actually get the overtake on Jace down this home straight. Jace is still yet to pit though, so I don't know if Jace is just holding off to try and go onto the softs towards the end of the race. But here we go. MCL has DRS on the AlphaTauri. He's going to move to the inside, and I think this is going to be a pretty easy overtake for the Mercedes. However, it seems to be going side by side into turn 1 as the AlphaTauri still has the DRS on the Red Bull, but no, he is very close to Jace, and I think he's probably going to maybe try and make an overtake into turn 12. They're going to go side by side, Millard almost forcing his way, but you know, down the inside of the AlphaTauri, and Millard has already caught up to the Mercedes. Is Millard going to be able to make an overtake on this double car in front? On these cars in front? No, he doesn't. It looks like MCL has actually made the overtake. However, Millard goes down the outside, which becomes the inside of the Red Bull. What an overtake that was from Millard to get himself up into the podium positions, and now he sets his eyes for the Mercedes in front. I think it might be. The Mercedes doesn't really have that much to burn as he is flashing, and that is Millard going down the outside into turn 1. And Millard is now the leading car out of himself and the Mercedes. Further down the back, it looks like Five Wise is getting pretty close to Jace, so we will see if Five Wise can make the move. And he's going to dive down to the inside, and there he goes into turn 1. And he's going to come out in front of this battle between himself and Jace in the AlphaTauri. But honestly, look at that. He is absolutely flying. And down the outside, and Millard gets past the Aston Martin, and now he's going to try and work to get 3 seconds in front of Benjo to see if he can take this lead. However, how much tyre wear has he used? MCL has made an overtake on the Aston Martin into P2, And into turn 1 as well, out in front. Avi has a 3-second penalty, and Matt sends it down the inside as Avi goes very wide. But Avi stays in front for the time being. I think Matt maybe gave the Ferrari the position there as he thought maybe that was a bit audacious myself. Yellow flag there as there's an Aston Martin that's gone around there, and I believe that is One Eye who has spun and almost goes into the path of some other drivers. And if he wasn't ghosted, that would have been a very big incident. Avi gets another penalty for multiple warnings, which is probably just handed Matt P6 here, as Nick gets another penalty as well, you know, as I'm saying that. So here we go, on to the final lap. All the Mercedes needs to do is just stay within 3 seconds of the McLaren. The McLaren is going to be absolutely pulling his car through the corners, trusting in the car, trusting the tyres haven't, you know, been destroyed too much. There is a, I think that's a Ferrari going pretty slow, turbo. What's happened to him? Has he lost fuel? I think he might have lost some fuel. Look, can I actually enable the telemetry here? He has. Turbo's lost some fuel. That's another thing that could play into account here. Turbo has lost his fuel. Millard is not really running low on fuel. Neither is the Mercedes. The Mercedes might actually be able to get this. Cobra gets past, so does Matt as well of Turbo. Turbo's not going to be very happy with that. There is also a close battle between Pink and Five Ways, but I want to see if Millard can pull 3 seconds of this Mercedes. He is 2 seconds clear now. He's 2/3 of his goal. Is he going to be able to do it on the final few laps? He's going to come round the second to final corner. Now into the final corner of turn 16. Is the McLaren going to be 3 seconds ahead of that Mercedes? That Mercedes, all he needs to do is get the car through the final corner. Millard is going to win out on track. However, is the Mercedes going to be within 3 seconds? He is, and the Mercedes wins the Qatar Grand Prix on penalties. P1 is his. Millard has to settle for P2. Dylan is in P3. Benjo Warrior finishes in P4 when he crosses the line, but he might lose some positions due to penalties. He's going to finish P4. How many is he going to lose? He's going to lose none. He finishes and stays in P4. Cobra finishes in P5, but Jace on penalties promotes up into P5. Cobra then has to settle for P6. Matt finishes in P7. Pink then finishes in P8. Five Ways in P9, and then Neek will finish in P10. A good recovery drive from her to make up the deficit. CGM Glass will be the next driver that finishes. So will Isaac in P12. Turbo in P13, and then One Eye will be the final finisher in P14 to wrap up the points and this race at Qatar. One Eye crosses the line to take P14.